from around the world. This is James Kalm, your half-assed reporter, and I am back. And we are on Lower Broadway today. And we want to run in here at the Schoelkopf Gallery for what I think should be a very interesting show. And that is Arthur Dove. Yes, I could paint a cyclone. Stay tuned. Okay, hello. So we'll make our little sweep. We've got a Joseph Stella show on one side and Arthur Dove on the other. Gosh. Well, I should make my shout outs here as we're doing our walkthrough of the installation. Hey to all of our viewers in the Rhineland. Our viewers in Bogota. And Boca Raton. I like the title on this. This is titled Painting Only, 1932. Oil on Masonite. I was recently in Washington, D.C., and one of the reasons I like to go down there is to visit some galleries and get a view of American art that you don't get so much here in New York. This is titled April 1929, Pastel on Canvas. So I was down there visiting some family, and of course I love to drop in and see places like the Phillips Collection, the East Wing, the National Portrait Gallery, and the Smithsonian. And one of the things I noticed on my recent visit was the number of great Arthur Dove paintings that we have. It's titled Cross Channel, 1942, signed lower center. This is 21 by 15 inches. Well, I think the reason I like Arthur Dove is because he was maybe one of the most advanced, recognized, quirky, interesting, bohemian artists of his era. It's titled Beyond Abstraction. It's 1946. This is the year he died, it says here. So this is 12 by 9 inches. And there was some debate about whether Arthur Dove could be considered the first American artist that actually delved into pure abstraction. It's titled Horses Plowing on a Hill, 1927. It's pastel on paper mounted on board. And, well, I love this period of American modernism. And maybe there would be a couple of other people who would contend with the idea that Dove was the first American doing actual abstraction. We'll probably run in and get some pictures of the Joseph Stella show. He would be another one that was kind of delving into that. This is titled Nature Symbolized, number 3, Steeple and Trees, 1911-1912. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with some of the German expressionists, maybe the Breuker artists or the Blaureiter, but this kind of makes me think a little bit of Ernst Ludwig Kirchner. Oh, this is a beautiful piece. It's titled 1944. Oil on canvas. This is definitely museum quality. Well, I think Arthur Dove is interesting in a lot of ways. One of them is that talk about how he was a kind of a bohemian, but he and his wife, who I believe her name was Helen Torr, actually lived on a sloop, a sailboat that they moored out on Long Island during the summer, and then I guess in the winters they would bring it in and have it tied up around Harlem on the east side, on the East River. Okay, this piece is 27 by 36. Well, here's this nice little study. 3 by 4 inches. Seneca Lake, 1938, 6 by 8 inches. Our House, 1940. By 17. Actually, one of the things that I'm noticing, and it's always great to get a chance to see a lot of these side by side, is that Dove used a lot of these gradient lines in his brush strokes. It's kind of an interesting quality. And I also think that Arthur Dove might have been involved with some of the very early modern art things happening in New York. I don't know whether, I think he probably was in the Armory show in 1913. Some of the other things around there. I do know that he was involved with the Stieglitz Gallery and got a lot of support from him. And as I was saying, Duncan Phillips of the Phillips collection, I think, supported him for a long time. This is 1940 Long Island. And I think one of the fun things about this is that, well, in the last, say, 3 or 4 years, I think there's been a resurgence of interest in what I would call the transcendental painting movement. I think it started with Hilma af Klint, Agnes Pelton, some of the other transcendental painters from New Mexico. This is untitled Abstraction, 1945, 12 by 9 inches. And this one, you really get a chance to see his color sense, this one as well. Titled Pink 1, 1943, 21 by 15 inches. I think the other thing that's great is that a lot of these are intimate in scale, smaller than 2 feet in any dimension. I think the other thing I was reading about Arthur was that he was also doing a lot of experimenting with paint mediums, trying to make, I guess in one way, things that were cheaper, but also working with various kind of surface qualities. So he was working with wax and caustic things and maybe distemper and some other strange mediums. It's titled Painting in Tempera, 1944. Okay, I didn't look at the title on that. I just was... Stream of consciousness yakking. This is another very nice piece. 21 by 28 inches. Swamp, 1935. Well, I was talking about the idea of abstraction, and I think that, I guess, about 1907, 1908, you had two branches of abstraction that sort of manifest. One of them was this kind of the organic, I don't want to predate this, but an abstract expressionistic kind of stuff. And that was played off against a more formalistic variety of the Russian constructivists or the Dutch nostalgia group, style group. This is east from Holbrook's Bridge, 1936, 13 by 21. Well, so I think one of the things that would distinguish Dove's work from some of the more formalistic ones is a lot of these have references to landscape and other sensual things, sounds coming across the fields, weather changing, clouds moving. I also kind of like the scruffiness of this. It all looks very worn, touched by human hands. Music, 1913. Oil and canvas, 15 by 11. And it's always interesting to kind of think about what the influences that Dove might have had, what he had seen. This kind of makes me think of some of the futurists' work, although there's always a, what could I say, a kind of a clumsy, a more urgent, folksy approach to the abstraction. And also a very low-keyed color palette. Let's look at this one first. Brickyard Shed, 20 by 28. And here is the study. Watercolor and ink on paper. This is 5 by 7. Okay, it's interesting to compare these so you can sort of see where Arthur was kind of going with the mood at some parts of this. silver log. 1928. $30 by $18 in an artist's frame. Okay, that's kind of interesting. We get some dings in there. It's a copper edging. Well, as I was drifting around, I heard the lady at the desk come over and was explaining this to one of the viewers, and she said that this is actually one of the rare examples when Dove was using a lot of metallic paint. So we'll get down here and see if we can see the silver sheen. Cinder Bridge and Derrick.
Oh yeah, and you're right.
Yeah, the two are on the wall as well.
Yeah.
So I guess the artist will go out, maybe do some studies like this, maybe in his little pocket sketchbook with his tin of watercolors. And then he would come back in the studio and start to riff and dream and fantasize and play with the image. And he's got a great sense of his overlaid colors. Slaughterhouse, 1936. 16 by 26. Okay, so this is great. You got a landscape, but still you see his kind of abstract warping, twisting, fracturing put in here together. Greenhouse. It's 25 by 31. This is 1934. I was going to say also, I think that Dove is a master of the browns, the earth tones. I know that Arshil Gorky got into a debate with someone and he was talking about how elegant brown was, or could be. Mars and Blue Hillside, 1927, 15 3/4 by 21. Well, there's a lot of works on paper here, so I'm not going to give the titles of all of these, or we'd be here all afternoon, but we'll kind of take a sweep over these. Oh, I right, so these are all gouache on cardboard. 3 by 4 inches. And gosh, you could take these all, put them in your pocket, and you'd have a wonderful little exhibition of dove paintings. And these are all untitled. Abstraction Untitled, charcoal on paper, 20 by 17. Okay, well, it's kind of abstract, but you see the part of a sign there. I was thinking this actually makes me think of the dining sheds that are all over town these days. I was also thinking that I think Dove was very aware of his position as a change in the paradigm, a person who was doing work that Americans hadn't seen before. And he probably knew that he was going to be cursed, never be as popular or successful as some of the more commercial artists of his era. Boat going through inlet. Colored drawing canvas, 18 by 22. This is 1929, and I look at this and I think about what Jean Moreau was doing about that time in the beginning of surrealism. Sun on Water, 1917, 17 by 20 and a half inches. Okay, another huge wall of pieces. There must be 20 something here. Okay, that makes me think of a Hilma Aufklint piece a little bit. So I was talking about the formalist abstract artist versus the more organic or expressive abstraction. And I think some of these Dove pushes more into a formalistic area. Okay, it's the back of a car, it looks like. That's a very nice little piece. It's titled Primaries. 5 1/4 by 7 inches. Gouache on paper mounted on board. there's your more formalistic aspect. Well, that's been a run-through of Arthur W. Yes, I could paint a cyclone here at the Schoelkopf Gallery. We're going to run up and give you a bonus round. Okay, so we're going to have a bonus round here with Joseph Stella Unsealed from Paradise. Red Flower, 1929. This roll on canvas 16 by 12. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Arthur Dove and Joseph Stella knew each other. They were both a couple of New York advanced artists in the aughts, the teens, the 20s, and the 30s. This is titled Torso, 1940. Oil on canvas, 41 by 30 inches. And, well, of course, I love Joseph Stella. He did a whole series based on the Brooklyn Bridge. And I paddled across the bridge to come in for the show. The thing I was thinking about this is that this makes me think of some of Buford Delaney's paintings. Maybe a few years later. This is an interesting kind of odd piece. Woman at Sea, Woman and Sea, 1938. 18 by 15. Oh, there's some beautiful clouds. Abstraction, 1918. Pastel on paper. Okay, well, one of the reasons I haven't been posting as much lately is, aside from the holidays and the traveling, I've been working on a map piece. But one of the things that helps me to grasp and understand is how these groups of artists form in neighborhoods and things. And I think that Joseph Stella did have a studio on the Bowery. It's probably on one of my maps. This piece kind of made me think of a Franz Kupka painting. The Heron, 1925. 48 by 29. So I was talking about the transcendental painters, the kind of the resurgence of interest in that kind of spiritual symbolism. And I think that this kind of runs into that category. You could probably compare this to some of the Agnes Pelton paintings from the 30s and 40s and see a lot of similarities. Although I have to say I like Stella's brushwork and his kind of emphasis on the surface and the materiality and the buildup of the brushwork, although he's got some crackle in there. Swan's Night, 1917. Pastel and charcoal on paper. I think somebody was describing Agnes Pelton's work as having a Disney-esque aspect to it, and a Fantasia. This almost fits into that category of the sweet fantasy. Oh, I get it. We've got kind of a swan thing here. We got the swan's neck, the heron, swans at night. Again, another piece that I think relates to the transcendental painters. Got our symmetrical composition. We've got our symbolic animals. I think Helma Aufklund did a whole series of paintings about swans. We've got our kind of amorphous figure in there. Still Life in Peaches, pastel on paper. Okay, we're gonna wrap up looking at this little gem. Okay, this is not listed on the guide. But I like this. Must have like a little abstract face in there made out of the branches of the tree. Okay, this piece looks like it's also been restored and revarnished, maybe. James Kalm reporting on Arthur Dove. Yes, I could paint a cyclone. And Joseph Stella Unleashed from Paradise. You can like this, share, link it up to all your social media sites, and you can subscribe. And you can leave your thoughts, ideas, comments, criticisms, and reviews and suggestions below, as long as you say, "Thank you, Kate." Save the world. Yeah.